it's definitely one of the weirdest ideas that I've ever brought forward. But I also simultaneously believe that it's one of those ideas that would like certainly pop off. And this is actually a free idea to definitely make maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right? Like baby does taekwondo, baby does swimming, baby does Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter. The mom is the one that's super interested in that.
Realistically, we don't have like any product. We are developing a product, but we don't actually have the product.
It's the Viral Ideas Podcast with Gosh and Runda.
Welcome to the Viral Ideas Podcast, where we talk about startup ideas and viral ideas, content marketing. Today we have Michael. I don't want to waste 1 second. Let's just jump right into it.
Amazing to be on here. Josh, Runda, like really thankful for you guys including me. Very quickly, a little bit about myself. So I've always been a huge fan of entrepreneurship. Ever since I was little, I wanted to do my own business. So I was thinking a little bit about like, hey, what are some of the opportunities that are out there? Some of them might not be suitable for me, but definitely I think there are a lot of gaps out there that people can actually go and like add a lot of value for people. So this is something that I really want to talk about. A few ideas that I really love that are close to my heart. Part of them comes from my experiences traveling around the world. I find that like different locations, different cultures, different geographies oftentimes have different challenges, and like certain ideas they spawn from there, but maybe they don't take it so far. And so I think that there's some opportunities for us over here to take it a little bit further. So for the idea, I don't know if people have this experience. Obviously, we're all guys here, but a few of my friends that I've seen go through the transition of becoming mothers have a very specific challenge. You know, when you're young, when you're in your 20s, you have a circle of friends, right? So you have like all the people that you grew up with, you have the people that you went to school with. These are people that like you used to hang out, go have fun, drink, club, all this kind of stuff. But what happens when you become a mom? You know, suddenly your life gets flipped upside down. Now your kid is the most important thing in your life. Now, like your whole schedule changes. Everything's about the baby. You wake up at weird hours in the day. If one of your best friends comes to you and said, hey, let's go drinking, probably not. So what are the opportunities for people to go through that transition? There's an idea that I really love called baby does X. All right. And so the heart of this idea is that so like moms, they want the best for their children. And so like a lot of moms, they want to start their kids off on the right foot. So they start early. There's like a ton of research going into like babies and how they react to music, babies and like early childhood swimming and all this kind of stuff. And so this is just a much more formalized way of engaging with that. So baby does X is fundamentally, it's like a mother circle. So it's like 10 or 20 mothers together. The experience that I have in mind is a lot more elevated. So if somebody comes, everything is provided for them, right? Really safe space for the baby, highly trained, somebody certified to be able to take care of them. If it's somebody that's doing some like music stuff, this is like a trained musician, etc. And the programming itself doesn't even need to be super complex. It could just be somebody, like everybody gets like a xylophone, you know, like all the moms get like a xylophone and like all the babies get like a little mini xylophone. And the person up front, they just like hit a note, they're like C. Like, you know, don't see, and then like all the moms, like they look at the babies and they hit the note and they go see, you know. And it's a really good way for a few things. Number one, mother-children bonding, I think, is something that people would be really engaged with. Number two, and this goes back to the original point, like for the moms themselves, like this is their new circle, you know. This is like the new group of friends that potentially that they can connect with. And the reason is because if you think about like, you know, who is the actual person making the decision for the baby? It's not the baby. The baby doesn't know that they want the music yet. It's actually the mom. So it's a mom that's interested in music and wants to take her baby there. And so you're in a room where all the other moms also have that shared interest. And it could be something else, right? Like baby does taekwondo, baby does swimming, baby does Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter. The mom is the one that's super interested in that. And so all the other moms in that circle are also super interested in that. And so I think it like combines a lot of really interesting needs together for people going through that transition. And there are a lot of different ways that it can like move forward. So like an example would be for babies between 3 months or 4 months or something when their heads are still floppy. So this is also the time when it's the most challenging for mothers as well, because this is right at the beginning of that motherhood journey, right? And so if you're in that circle and you're working with the baby at that early stage, there's also potential for a different program when the baby is 1 year old and then when the baby's 2 years old. And eventually what this could turn into is like, it could turn into a bit of a feeder program for like existing educational institutions, things like Montessori or something like this, and actually give the baby a leg up in terms of like early stage development. I'm not sure if we go into questions or something like this, but happy to share something more detailed as well.
Single right now, so on to you, Josh.
I'm single right now, so on to you, Josh.
Well, it is interesting to me because while I'm not an expert on this space, I have actually heard of some people in my world who have started creating content around motherhood, and they've seen a lot of success with it. And it just overall, it seems like a high opportunity space, especially for the content side of it. And I think that's where you could sort of find a way to, distribute this. It could be through a podcast or anything like that, because there's really just a lack of content for available that's coming out freshly for pregnant mothers, because a lot of people really like to a lot of people will really like the idea of, say, a podcast that's like, I'm a woman bearing a child and starting a podcast and saying, hey, like, I'm on my month one of pregnancy right now, and I'm going through this journey. We're going through this journey and we're talking about it together. And, going along with that, that's just something that's going to be inherently compelling. And maybe it's not a podcast, that it could also just be a simple TikTok series or something like that, just depending on whatever your skills are more leaning towards. And that also just gives people something to do that is in person. Like right now, I think a lot of people are really just looking for any type of way to be connected with people that are, sort of going through the same walks of life as them. Like you said before, especially when you're going into motherhood, it's very natural to see that, other mothers will befriend each other naturally, because like they're going through the same thing in life, and they want to share that story with each other. If we were simplifying this though, like for the listeners, like how would you actually put this into execution? Like on the MVP level, I guess, so to say.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, like, I think probably the easiest is to just go to a place where there's a little bit of density, right? So, I mean, Toronto is probably a good place, somewhere where there's a little bit of density of people, and then just going and trying to find mothers. So, probably the easiest place to find them is, there are already groups out there, like Facebook groups or like Reddit groups where people are like congregating together. So that's one. Number two is, people have certain behaviors when they're like just starting out, right? Like moms going to the Costco section where they're going to go buy diapers, right? You can just go stop all the moms that are buying the diapers. So I think that there are like some existing pools that already exist, because like the reason I think that this probably has a bit of a like an easy start is because it's been a problem for a while, right? Like it's not like as if this is just a new thing that mothers are experiencing. But I think, especially from what you said, where social media, I think, plays a big part now in people's lives, it's a lot easier to reach out to people, because in the past, I think a lot of what it would take to build something like this would be primarily push based. So like I would need to push people, I would need to sell people, be like, hey, do you want to come to my program? But I think now with things like social media and all this kind of stuff, like a lot of it can be inbound, right? We can show people like, hey, here's the experience of being a mother. Here's what building new relationships in a mother circle look like, right? This is the experience of a mother circle. This is the experience of motherhood. This is how you find people at around the same age of the baby, right? Because like a baby changes a lot from like 3 months to like even a year, And so like, how do you find people who are going through the same stage of that journey together? In the past, it was hard for people to discover, but now it's going to be really easy with things like social media. So my personal feeling is, you can do it two ways. One is definitely, I think content is going to be a very big part of this, because then people can actually discover this thing that you're looking to provide. But then the other part is, there are already existing pools of people, Reddit groups, Facebook groups, all these kind of things, where people are already congregating, and then you could just go in and like tap into those kind of existing institutions.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think, especially knowing how it being localized is an important aspect. It makes me wonder if you should even consider flyers in neighborhoods and, doing it in focused pockets of the city where again there's a high density of family, probably in an area where it's mostly single family homes. And
Yes.
just putting out flyers for that, you would then be able to connect people with people who are in their neighborhood. Like you can connect with other mothers who literally live down the street from you. There's a ton of obvious benefits that would come on, added to that. And I think a lot of apps are sort of using that now as a means of sort of niching themselves down. Like, you ever heard of Karrot? It's kind of like a Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace alternative. Their whole thing is like, well, we will get you the listings that are like literally a couple of houses down from you, and those are the ones that will send you first. And I've used that to like get the rug in my living room. I didn't have to find some way of moving a rug across the city or anything like that. It just happened that there was a rug that I liked and it was one block down the street. I think just bringing that as a selling point to like sort of tack it on would add a lot of value. But yeah, I think it's a super interesting idea.
I got a digital advertising side of it. I would probably start buying, or like I would set my local targeting ads for something like a Facebook ads, and literally just like localize all the neighborhoods that's like closer to me, and then also geo-targeted neighborhoods that are more higher income. And then for these like Facebook ads, I think I can also target these people with a series of search interests. So it wouldn't be so difficult for me to just like buy some very cheap sequence of keywords like best baby bottle brand, and then just like target that within something like Toronto or like Markham or something like that, which I would hold these classes. And in my classes, in these titles would just be like, oh yeah, you're looking for a baby bottle brand, here's a series of these either informational content or series of videos that I would then like talk about within that click through. And then also at the end, do the CTA call out saying, hey, are you an early parent? By the way, we're doing these like series of support group classes for all the early parents that are out there within the area, localized over here. So I think that could be very powerful as like a outbound or like just paid advertising. It's just like a no-brainer because right now I'm running a few Google ads and the cost per click is under $1 for just straight up search ads. And I think the social aspect is so key. Aside from the class, I would probably arrange for like coffee dates or like baby play dates to like have like another early parent to come swing by to your either your home or like meet at a local cafe and then just like have coffee chats, have like these early parental coffee chats. And then it can't just be like mothers to mothers. I feel like there's got to be a mix of stay-at-home dads too. And then stay-at-home dads also care about their babies.
It's a really interesting point. I actually have a thought, and I would love to hear like commentary on it. What if we targeted trophy wives? Like, if the person is like an investment banker and their wife is like stuck at home and now stuck at home with this baby, he would be incentivized for her to not be nagging him when he is at home and instead be happy at these play dates. So you just sell a really expensive program to these like bankers or like it's like CEOs, like ultra wealthy individuals, and be like, hey, like this is a program, like on the surface it's to build like social relationships between the moms, but the benefit for them is you get them out of the house so you can bring your friends over and like enjoy your time, like the baby's getting taken care of really nicely, right? And your wife is like, in a happy circle with all the other moms.
Yeah, you sell the program as just like a social community group that your spouse can get into.
Exactly.
That's a very roundabout way of doing it, but I could definitely see I could definitely see, then having the opportunity to generate probably some higher revenue per customer there.
I mean, you can have different layers, right? You can have like the premium, hey, it's like private school, like some people they go to private school, it's not for the education, they go for the community, right? It's like, I need to get my kid there so I can talk to that guy's parent, right? So, I mean, I wonder if could be like there's also another version of this where it's not like, public, it's like not open, but it's more like really closed and really like primo. And so like, hey, if you're part of this group, you get, I don't know, all the baby stuff, right? Like music and like taekwondo and like all the things that people love, everything. But the only way for you to get in is that you're in a very specific, socioeconomic like stratus. When you get in there, like, hey, that mom I'm meeting, she's the, wife of the founder of blah blah blah, right? Or the CEO of like that's
Yeah.
somebody quality, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that could definitely be another way to sell the value of this is a very premium community. And I mean, that's totally happened in the world of dating apps. So, any other, community focused thing is probably open up to that. I mean, hey, I bet one day there will even be some type of Luma that only has, the nicest events. That's definitely a powerful tool to use there.
It's interesting because like if we take this even like just a little step further, I think a lot of people used to use things like education, right? Like which university you went to. They might even use geography, like, oh, you're from this country. Like that used to be a big differentiator in terms of like status, and like people are looking for those things, right? But now I think there's like a lot of equality everywhere. In which case, like there's certain people who might still be looking for status, but where? Like some people still want status. And so this could also be interesting in a way where it's like, just like your example of people looking for like the app where it's like, hey, you need to do something to get in, or like events, hey, you need to do something to get in, right? Like maybe it's not even just money. Everybody has money. Like it's something a little bit further. Like you need to do an interview or like you need some kind of strong vetting to be able to get in. Like I think some people would really like that because like they don't want, like just be in a room with random people.
Yeah. And knowing that their kid isn't running around with some freak, you know? Having more vetting for just the network that you're surrounding your young child to could actually be something that is really important to the some parents because like what you're saying about private school, that right there can be the sole reason that people will decide to spend tens of thousands of dollars that they don't need to spend because there's public schools available, but they'll do it anyways because they're focused on that intangible network and just status symbol.
Exactly.
But yeah, soup. I love that. I love that idea, Michael. Runda, what do you have? What do you have cooking up today?
A lot of fake business. So within the startup space or early stage startup space, right? When you have a technical startup founder that usually spends all their time to figure out the product and R&D at first, they realistically, when they don't actually have like a pipeline to fulfill those service or product sets that they're pitching, even like within the stage of like developing their product before they get their first customer or something like that, most of the time when they're pitching their ideas on that idea phase or like early stage concept phase, no one in the startup space usually just like tell it what it is. They always say early stage startups are pre-concept. There are even like people without an idea that are coming in to say they're startups. So like, why don't we just make the culture and tell it what it really is? We're fake businesses. It's totally fine to be a fake business. Realistically, we don't have like any product. We are developing a product, but we don't actually have the product to sell to you. You can potentially just like at least sign up as an early bird to potentially buy the product and put down a deposit, but we really have nothing. But we will sell you on the entire idea of these businesses as a fake business. So my whole thought is that we need to change this culture for people to at least own up to the fact that they're their fake business. And for like early stage startups to just take on that name, because it just becomes a little bit more humbler for people to understand at what position they're in. We have the aspiration to be in business until we get the first customer. But right now, this is where we're at, which is like a decent bit of startups out there, but like no one really knows because it's so elusive. But there are actual investor groups. If your startup idea actually needs capital for that R&D, there are investor groups that are there to invest in these early stage startups. But then you need to be like fairly apparent on like your language. And then to me, I think we can create a fake business network. Just have these groups of early stage startups to introduce their concepts as content for the viewers to essentially create these 1-minute pitch videos of their fake business. And then essentially they would own up to the fact that it's a fake business, but then they would totally pitch it as a legit business and product proposition on like why it's innovative and then what they're going to do in their special kind of like technical development. And then create those content, maybe as an Instagram meme page or like these TikTok pages. And then as long as there are enough people engaging, either hearting or like watching the video of their pitch, that's essentially all these initial early stage founders really want is just capturing that attention, because that's what they really lack is people understanding their idea and getting people to also feel a certain level of affinity within their idea. And then that's how you kind of like get the word of mouth spreading. And all these like, whether if it's like investors or partners or early employees on board into buying into that initial early stage business, but it's a fake business with just that content page and then a series of almost like these Y Combinator 1-minute pitch videos, but it's all 1-minute pitch videos of these fake business. It will be the fake business combinator, F Combinator. So if that content series gains enough traction within these early stage investors who are like startup networks, and then it becomes like relatively a thing, a memeable thing, I would then forward it over to the next stage, which is the fake business conference. So imagine like, I guess like there's a medium stage of like the fake business pitch competition where we actually like fund fake businesses, but then the fake business conference is really what I want to make, which is it's an ideas focused conference for concept to pre-seed stage startups. And then since there'll likely be a large number of like pre-revenue startups out there anyways, just have all the startups within these conference goers have their badge just be giant and say it's a fake business. They're the founder of fake business. Once the content page has like that en masse, I would probably do pitch competitions at first and then level up into the huge fake business conference. It's a little bit of satire. You gotta be like a little bit owning up to the fact that, oh, this is somewhat satire, but then like at the same time, if you get the right level of like network that you're looking to get within that initial partnerships and investors, I think like it's really different and it shifts the culture a little bit, and then it will actually gain traction in terms of like attention and eyeballs.
If I was just like coming into this, I would just make a video where I'm like, imagine a car that runs on your leftover food that you didn't eat and takes you anywhere around the world for free, costs you nothing. And then see how people respond to that. And yeah, I mean, you could probably do stuff that's less absurd and more rooted in reality, and really just sort of position it as like, yeah, we're the Y Combinator, but like the meme one. We make meme businesses, and like that. The best way to test that would be by making content about the ideas. It actually would really, if you think about it, it's a very similar concept to this very podcast, but just in a different form. It's like a very high end version of this pod that's actually an idea studio that is basically, selling these selling these ideas to VCs with them being validated by social media.
Two things. Number one, this needs to exist. Okay, this needs to exist. I'm sold on it already. So the reason that I think that this is actually a fantastic idea, actually two reasons. Number one is like when I look at young people and think about like, hey, how are they getting into entrepreneurship? There's actually a lot of support for people who are technical right now. Hackathons and all these kind of different opportunities. They can go to the Google office and like a lot of different support networks, hacker houses, a lot of these different support networks that help people on the technical side, which I think is great. But for the non-technical founder, which I am also a non-technical founder, I have always wished that there was some kind of opportunity for me to be able to express and improve and practice the non-technical side of creating an entrepreneurial business. And oftentimes this is stuff like, vision, right? Like how do I get people excited, sales and like, finding the right problem and, trying to really understand the customer. So like all these different aspects that it almost seems as if like you need to wait. You need to wait until you have a solution and then you can start the ball rolling. And everything in like before that solution is made is simply administrative work. So how do we actually accelerate like entrepreneurs so that instead of going in cold and like having to like be delayed, to be honest, in terms of developing those skills, get them right off the bat, starting to develop these core skills that they need as the non-technical founder to make their business successful. And what we've seen is the reality is like what is the role of a non-technical founder now in like these modern early stage businesses? They're the cheerleader, right? They're the people thinking about where are their customers. They're the people thinking about content, right? Organic. How do we actually get people interested and engaged? And actually, like the way that you guys are thinking about it could be like the modern version of like developing a business, because traditionally, if you think about how businesses are developed, it's very linear. Like two guys get into a room, or like us even here, like just talking about it and like, okay, we're ideating, but then somebody has to go ahead and build it. And then only after somebody builds it, then we bring it in front of the market and like, I don't do a beta test or something like this, right? So it's a very linear process. But what if we could flip that on its head and take advantage of the fact that social can help validate or invalidate a lot of these ideas without having to put any of the work into it, as long as the social, like being able to do the social is like cost effective. And I think what you guys are describing is that it is cost effective now, right? It could just be us. Like having a chat or like going out and thinking of some content ideas and doing the content for it. And like, I love the fact that this is a fake business. And to be honest, my argument here would be make it at least the first year, no real business is allowed. All right. If you're a real business, you cannot attend. Okay. You must be a fake business. And then number two, satire should be overrepresented. Like there should be a fake business award. Like it should be overrepresented. Nobody in that room should talk about real business. But the lessons can all be real. But the businesses must all be fake. Real lessons, fake businesses.
Have you guys ever heard of the Golden Raspberry Award? So for anybody who doesn't know what this is basically like the anti-award in the film industry, where they will essentially give out awards for like the worst movie of the year, essentially. And I think they're just really easily well known, not because they are a particularly good, awards group or, really anything about the people who are making that. It's really just the fact that nobody else has taken the time to make a worst movie award, and they kind of capitalized off of that, and they were able to grow it into something that is actually memorable and people know. So that just makes me think that with this idea, like you should just have like the worst business award, or just like the best fake business, and then give it to a company that may actually be known for scamming people or something along those lines. I mean, like FTX would probably be a great fake business first place award that a lot of people would agree with that one. You could use it to throw shade on companies in a way that realistically, like I could see that creating a lot of surface area for just a viral a very viral page that could then be grown into, maybe after a year of building an audience, you could turn it into, its own m- Y Combinator that has also cornered this niche of, memes and, being a little bit absurd. It's a great idea, Rhonda.
Can you imagine the keynote speaker is like one of the FTX execs that's like from jail? Like he's like in jail and he's like on the big screen. He's like on the big screen and he's the keynote speaker, but he's like in chains and everything. And like everybody's like listening. Dude, I would love that. That'd be amazing.
Book Lizzie Holmes and then the FTX CEO that's currently in jail.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like he's not here. We don't know why. We invited him. We gave him a seat right there in the front row. We're just gonna leave the award on the chair. Like, come pick it up whenever.
Dude, like have a huge sign there, like reserved for like I don't know, Sam Bankman-Fried or get like Martin Scarelli, have like Martin Scarelli come as like keynote.
Is it true that is it aren't Diddy and Sam Bankman-Fried like bunkmates now? I think I read that somewhere. Maybe that was it was fake news. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, yeah, like come on. You just got to go after anybody that the world just like universally hates and give them the worst business award, and like come on. That's going to be a great piece of content marketing that will then probably just get you free PR as well, because any you know any news publication is going to want to jump on that, like, oh hey, this thing won the worst award for the worst business award or the best fake business. Yeah, that's a I love that one, Runda.
It's a prestigious award. I'm gonna make there's a full judge process where like we find the best selections of the jury who are there to evaluate all the fake businesses. And yeah, it will be stamped and validated and framed and shipped to you.
You should get like just a stacked team of fake business people. Like get somebody who worked on Fire Festival, like high up on the team. Just be like, yeah, we got a guy from Fire Festival. We got someone from Jake Paul's NFT scam. Like we've rounded up all these people and they are all the experts. Oh yeah, what's her name? Elizabeth Holmes. We'll just be like, we have somebody who is very close in her world, and they will be able to like judge like how well that you can just like front the crazy idea with something that may or may not be possible.
I'm highly motivated to make this a reality.
Yeah, man. I mean, if this becomes the first idea from this podcast to become something real in real life, like that would just be the greatest thing ever. Cause yeah, I think I especially need to go to this event. Like, I want to know, like, what does this event celebrating fake businesses look like? Like that would be just amazing.
Yeah, I'll be pitching my fake business at this event. It's a furniture company, but all the furniture are made of chocolates.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. You can do the chocolate. Is it cake? Like walk up with your mic and then just like squeeze it and it to reveal that the whole thing is cake, and then pull the real mic out from behind you.
Here's a prototype. Here's a product, but it's not a real business. It's a fake business.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So yeah, if you guys want to jump on into my next idea here, this one is something that I'm actually not even sure where I came up with this one from, but it's definitely one of the weirdest ideas that I've ever brought forward. But I also simultaneously believe that it's one of those ideas that would like certainly pop off, and this is actually a free idea to definitely make tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars selling your own e-commerce product. So if that interests you, just listen to this. So I'm just going to open it with the title, okay? This isn't necessarily the name of the product. I haven't figured that out yet, but think of Gorp Core meets Bindles. You guys know Bindles, like like Tom Sawyer, like with a stick on your shoulder, pulling a bag. So yeah, we're talking about sort of bridging that trend with the Gorp Core trend. Well, I'm gonna be honest, this isn't a trend yet, but it's going to be a trend because this is something that actually needs to exist, and there's real demand for stuff like this. So there you go. Yeah, Gorp Core meets Bindles. Yeah, for any as a visual cue for anybody here. That's what we've put up. So basically, how I would start doing it, I would front load it with content, just like we were talking about before. First I would make a prototype. It wouldn't be that difficult. We live in the age of 3D printing if you need something, but bindles are also something that you can make yourself. You really just need a stick and then something to hold it all together at the top. So I would put up whatever resources I have available to make that prototype. I would DIY it. It would be totally okay to do that. If you have some money to put behind it, then I would build like a real prototype. Then go out and start making content. First thing I would try is probably go to a university campus and find some students. Maybe they want some go-getter content creator types, and just say to them like, hey, we would like to run some UGC to get this thing going. So give them the bindle, have them walk into their classroom with it, and just film themselves using it. Like take their laptop out of it, open it up, and then, just capture content of this. And if that format is working, keep using it and just continue to go to more insane places where you're bringing your bindle. So that right there is where I would expect to see traction with the content on that almost from day one. If it's not working from day one, then the idea may just be bad. But you would see traction on something like this quite quickly. And once you start building up that audience with the content, if you don't already have your e-commerce site ready to go, well then, I would definitely be getting this product ready to sell. And once you've started selling your product, working at your kinks, and you've figured out all of the many difficulties that are guaranteed to come along with selling a product like this, that's where you take it from, being this sort of niche viral page that sells stuff via e-commerce to bridging into the world of high fashion. And that's where I would totally be looking for partnerships. So, particularly looking at brands, say Arc'teryx, Fjallraven, Patagonia, something like that. You got to find somebody who is in that A tier, maybe B tier. They don't have to be a super high level brand, but do a collab and then release that, that tech bindle. Past that point, really the world is just going to be your oyster, and you can probably start thinking about bridging out to other products than just the bindle that are following that same brand philosophy. Yeah, I would say like starting first with the content, and then manufacture it, sell it, and if you can continue traction with that, you will find a partnership eventually. And then after you're done with that, start doing big campaigns, diversify, turn it into a billion-dollar fashion label.
Is this a new category called tactical urban?
Tactical urban. I feel like I've heard this term before. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like my feeling is that this is gonna be super cool. Like I could just imagine. Can you just imagine like a flash mob, but everybody has like a bindle walking down the street? I think that'd be freaking amazing. People are like,
make it
what's
look good.
happening?
It would
You gotta make it look good.
fashionable. Like people would look good, and you would make sure that you only have good-looking people with the bindles in the beginning. Walking around on the street with that carbon fiber pole, and then the titanium clip on it with the Gore-Tex. All that. Come on, people would look good going out there with these bindles, no doubt. But yeah, it's sort of hijacking that whole idea of the So I've seen this with You guys know what do you guys know what have you guys ever seen the tech thobe? These are this is like this is some type of Middle Eastern thing here. So these guys, they have made, this is like a traditional thing that you would wear, but then they made it out of the same material as Nike sweatpants. And those guys, I think they've got well over 500,000 followers on Instagram. I've seen the same thing done here, like specifically in the techwear side with cloaks. And there's this brand, I don't remember the name of this one, to be honest, but they basically hijacked Harry Potter fans, and this cloak that they're selling for like $120, that's another brand that has 500,000 subscribers on Instagram, and like they're probably not running any paid ads whatsoever. They're just getting an insane amount of inbound because their product is inherently viral.
Dude, I love it. And actually, I feel like there's actually a lot of interesting, you could call it innovations that you could do with this. Like, so like the bindle is actually two parts, right? So there's a stick part and there's a bag part. Am I correct? And so what it means is that you could have innovation. So where's the, like, how do we enhance the utility of the stick, right? The materials, the feel, the look, but then also the bag. Like, how do you make it so that the bag is like, I don't know, does it have pockets inside, zipper, like, is it waterproof, right? Like, what can you do with it? Does it double as a pillow? Does it double as like what can you do with it, right? Like can you save a cat? I don't know. Like, what are the utilities that you can do with it? I think there are a lot of potential things. Plus, there's a lot of upsells that you could do. An example would be like, let's say you have a bindle and then you have like a fully kitted out bindle. Like inside, there's like, I don't know, like Swiss Army knife. I don't know, like a mobile stove. I don't know, like just fully kitted out, right? But with like fashionable stuff, like everything is fashionable inside. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for innovation here. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, actually, something that just popped into my head as you mentioned that is you could sort of hop on the trend around modularity and make it's on a stick. So, more than likely, it wouldn't be that difficult to, just using a clip system or something like that to have, one stick. Maybe you sell that stick just itself, like you sell each piece of it is modular. Then the bag is an added on thing where you get the bag that is the right size that you want. But then if you just want to have the bindle to end all bindles, then you would get the full package where it's one stick that comes with maybe 4 different bag sizes. So it's like, oh, okay, like you're just going out for the day, like, here's the small size one, but then have, heavier options for, longer forms of travel and such.
Have you guys seen this zombie apocalypse jacket?
No.
Oh man, I'm about to bring it to you and then make you want to buy one.
Okay, it looks good. It looks good.
I want it. It's very tactical.
Yeah, it's from this company called Volleybag, and then they kind of made a couple of these like apparel wears that are just like engineered to like last forever. And then I think one of the clothing that they made it's a space wear. It's a coat that you can wear in space, but then it also looks good. And also like, I don't know, 1,000-year-old jeans where it's just like, it's a jeans that they guarantee that will last 1,000 years. And this one is like the zombie apocalypse coat where you get like a first aid kit too, along with the coat. It's absolutely insane. I think like the bindle needs to go within that type of like a tactical direction too. Maybe like in the near future, you can rationalize, oh yeah, the crossover, like the bag itself can also become like a cross-body bag. And then the stick that goes along with it, if you choose to like detach it, it's also a extendable baton.
But then you would have to call it not an extendable baton, just like the flamethrower that you're showing, so that you can make it legal in Canada.
I believe the stick is called a mobility assistant device.
Mobility assistant device. Yeah, exactly.
Device.
Yeah, people would be so confused going on the website, and they're just like, why does it say that it's a Bindle, but then I go on here and it says it's a mobility assistance device? We're like, well, how do I explain this to you? That in itself, that would just create so much good brand lore. Like, go on, you can, I feel like these days, like, you can kind of start up a company doing basically anything, and people will sort of hop into that brand story if it doesn't really cost them much to get into it, even if they don't need the product. Like, you could really just start sort of applying the same absurd mindsets to different industries, like, the SaaS world, for example. Like, imagine if somebody just came out with a project management software that is just like completely unhinged, just like following, sort of following this same thing where it's like, yeah, there's a million different project management softwares out there, so why not make it fashionable, and have this sense of storytelling and mystique, and also the viral absurdity of it, all combining to build a brand following around something. In anything that is really commodified, I feel like there's an opportunity to just make insane branding choices and have people jump on board just because of that.
Yeah, I need a project management software for an afternoon high tea.
Yeah, whatever that would look like that sounds incredible. Okay, guys. So that, I think, is going to be it for the episode. So yeah, Michael, any parting words that you would like to leave our listeners with?
Let's do some of these. Let's not just let dreams stay dreams.
All right, everybody, thank you for listening to the Viral Ideas podcast. That is all that we have for today. Before we go, Michael, any messages for the guest? Please let us know where we can find you online.
Yeah. Number one, thanks again, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate Josh and Runda. Let's not let our ideas stay ideas. Let's not let our dreams stay dreams. Let's make them a reality. I loved all of the ideas today. I think we can make them something that people are really going to enjoy in real life. If you want to find me, come and ping me on LinkedIn. If you want to know where it is, feel free to go ahead and ask Josh or Runda, or just search Michael Liu. And if you can't find me, you can email me at michael@odyzy.com.
Okay. Well, thank you, Michael. So yeah, everybody, if you want to make one of these ideas a reality, yeah, message one of us. Message Michael. Message me if it was about the Bindle in particular. And yeah. Well, anyways, thanks, guys.